First time with this new strategy. Audio looks good, though I guess we'll just see how this goes. Hey everyone, Josh from Practical Theism here. Why do we say God is love? You know, we always hear Christians say that God is love, but what do we mean by it? I mean, sure, in the Bible, it records in 1 John 4:8 that God is love, but for some, that can be a bit abstract. I mean, what does that really mean? Does that mean that God is just an emotion, love? Does that mean that God is just some sort of fuzzy feeling, or rather something that we do, an action we carry out? I think there's a more practical and fundamental explanation of the statement, though, and to really get at this, we need to first understand what love is, and second, what God holds as traits by nature under the theistic purview. Now, love is to will the good of the other, as Thomas Aquinas puts it so well. But what does that mean? That means that you want, desire, and ensure the good or well-being of another person or thing just because they are who they are. You know, I will give my life for you because you're worthy of life, not because of anything I get in return. I will pour my time, my talent, my energy into your life because you are worthy of that investment. Just because you were a created being that has an inherent worth. Now, let's contrast that with what love is not. Love is not wanting your good only insofar as it benefits me. That would be some sort of like indirect egotism, as Bishop Barron puts it so well, or a selfish form of contractual love. I put in this and you give back this. You know, I will allow you to purchase this item, wifey, because I know that you will allow me to purchase a larger one down the road. You see, that's precisely what we don't mean when we say love, because true love is always life-giving, offering up and sacrificing one's own desires and well-being for that of another. What is God by nature? In simple terms, we say God is eternal. God is outside space and time. He's not competing with his creation. He is the necessary first cause of all creation that contains within himself the reason for his own existence. He's perfect, period. He needs nothing and he lacks nothing. All of creation was created for the purpose of its own good. Now, we see this has to be by necessity because God has no need of the creation. He is perfect goodness and there is nothing that he lacks. Therefore, creation is not a completion of his goodness. It's rather a reflection of it. It's an outpouring of it. And because of this, we can logically conclude that creation was created for the good of creation. In other words, the good that is creation was affected for the sole purpose that it benefited those things that were created. It is better to exist than not to exist, right? I'm sure anybody who disagrees with you probably doesn't exist, but what a gift it is to be alive with all the complexities that surround us. I mean, the very fact that you exist is precisely for your own good, because existence is far better than non-existence. Therefore, if God is eternal, and all his qualities are eternal, and he is lacking nothing, and is goodness itself, then because of that, we by necessity must be created not for God's goodness, but for our own. And we can conclude that God is love because love only wants what is good for the other. God is love because of his eternality. Love is not a trait of God. Rather, it is what he is. We were not created to complete something that God lacks, like he needs us or something. Rather, we were created to bring God more glory and attention because we are a pure reflection and a small part of what God is in perfection. Just one last thought about this. When you experience love in the world, that intangible emotion and feeling that you can't explain or quantify, you're actually participating in a really pale reflection of what God is in perfection. When you choose to love someone else by willing their good just because they are who they are, you're participating in a small microcosm of what God is by his nature in his perfection. Pique your interest at all? Well, welcome to the greatest love story ever told. And guess what? You're a part of it whether you like it or not. The question is, are you going to believe it? From all of us here at Practical Theism, this is Josh. We'll see you next time.